As we grow older, many of us expect that death comes suddenly, often without any warning. However, the truth is, our bodies frequently send quiet signals months, sometimes even a year, before we reach the final stages of life. The problem is that most people miss these signs, as they seem small and insignificant at first. It is only much later, when looking back, that families realize these clues were there all along. But by then, it's often too late to prepare and make those last moments count. In this video, we're going to discuss 5 key signs that often appear in the year before an elderly person passes away. Some of them might be things you've already noticed but dismissed as just part of the aging process. Others might seem like minor changes but actually signal the body's gradual decline. Recognizing these signs early on gives you the opportunity to provide better care, cherish meaningful moments, and, most importantly, ensure that your loved one's final stages of life are filled with comfort, dignity, and peace. Stay with us until the end, because these 5 signs will help you prepare emotionally and practically for what lies ahead. When you understand what's happening, you won't be caught off guard. You'll be able to make the most of the time you have left with your loved ones. Let's dive in. Sign 1. Noticeable weight loss. One of the first and most telling signs that a person may be nearing the end of their life is unintentional weight loss. At first, it might seem subtle, a belt that suddenly needs to be tightened, clothes that appear looser, or a decrease in appetite. Many families brush it off as simply part of aging. However, losing weight without trying is rarely a good sign. It often indicates that the body is no longer absorbing nutrients efficiently, muscle mass is decreasing, and vital systems are slowing down. Aging naturally leads to some muscle loss, but when it happens too quickly, it's a red flag. The body might be struggling to digest food properly, or the person may no longer be able to process protein effectively, leading to muscle wasting. This loss of strength doesn't just make movement harder, it increases the risk of falls, weakens the immune system, and leaves the person more vulnerable to infections. Another reason for weight loss in the final year is changes in appetite. Many elderly individuals simply don't feel hungry the way they used to. Their sense of taste fades, food no longer seems enjoyable, and they may begin skipping meals or eating much smaller portions. This isn't just a matter of preference, it's a physiological change. The body, sensing that it is shutting down, no longer sends the brain signals to seek food as often. If you notice significant weight loss in a loved one, especially if they're eating less, feeling weaker, or struggling to stay active, it's time to pay attention. This is not just about physical appearance, it's a message from the body, and understanding it can help you prepare with clarity, compassion, and the ability to make each remaining moment meaningful. Sign 2. Extreme fatigue and weakness. One of the most noticeable changes leading up to the end of life is persistent fatigue that doesn't improve with rest. It's not just feeling a little tired after a long day, it's a profound exhaustion that makes even simple tasks feel overwhelming. Getting out of bed becomes a challenge. Walking across the room requires effort. Activities that once felt routine, like cooking, dressing, or even holding a conversation, begin to feel too draining. This isn't just a result of aging. It's a sign that the body is conserving its remaining energy as organ function begins to slow down. The body starts prioritizing what's most essential. The heart doesn't pump as efficiently, circulation weakens, and muscles no longer receive the oxygen they once did. This is why many elderly individuals feel weak, unsteady, and unable to maintain the same level of activity they once enjoyed in their final months. Another key factor is metabolic slowdown. The body is designed to produce and use energy, but as it prepares for its final phase, that energy is redirected. Instead of fueling movement, the body shifts toward preservation. This is why someone in decline may start sleeping more, needing longer naps during the day, and finding it harder to stay awake for long periods. Some may even experience sudden drops in energy, where they seem fine one moment but are completely drained the next. But perhaps the most heartbreaking part of this process is the emotional impact of fatigue. Many seniors who once took pride in their independence begin to feel frustrated or even embarrassed that they can't do what they used to. They may withdraw from conversations, avoid social interactions, or stop engaging in hobbies. Not because they don't care, but because they simply don't have the energy. For families, watching a loved one go from active and engaged to exhausted and withdrawn can be painful. It's easy to assume they're just being lazy or that they need to push through it, but the reality is that forcing activity won't help. What matters most is understanding their limits, allowing them to rest when needed, and making their remaining days as comfortable as possible. If you notice a loved one experiencing extreme fatigue that isn't relieved by rest, take it as a sign that their body is going through a major transition. This is the time to cherish conversations, create moments of peace, and support them without expectations. In the end, what matters most isn't how much they can do. It's that they feel loved, understood, and at ease. Sign 3. Increased cognitive confusion or withdrawal. As someone approaches the final stages of life, one of the most striking changes can be seen in how they think, communicate, and interact with others. You may notice that someone who was once sharp and engaged starts to forget things more often, struggle to follow conversations, or seem disoriented in familiar places. They may repeat themselves, forget names, or lose track of time, even when they never had memory issues before. These subtle cognitive changes can happen months or even a full year before death. This isn't just everyday forgetfulness. The brain, like any other organ, requires a steady flow of oxygen and nutrients to function properly. But as circulation weakens and oxygen supply to the brain decreases, cognitive function starts to decline. The person may become easily confused, have difficulty making decisions, or struggle to recognize people and places they've known for years. In some cases, they may even have brief moments of lucidity followed by sudden episodes of confusion, almost as if their mind is fading in and out. Another common sign is emotional withdrawal. Someone nearing the end of life often loses interest in social interactions. You might notice them speaking less, engaging less, or spending long periods simply sitting in silence. It's not that they don't care about their loved ones, it's that their brain no longer processes emotions and engagement the same way. For family members, this stage can be especially difficult. Watching a loved one lose touch with reality or emotionally withdraw can feel like losing them before they're actually gone. But it's important to remember that this isn't something they can control. Instead of trying to bring them back into conversations, the best thing you can do is meet them where they are. Speak gently, offer reassurance, and understand that even if they don't always respond, they can still feel your presence. If a loved one is becoming more forgetful, more confused, or less engaged, don't ignore it. These are often early signs that the body and mind are preparing for the final transition. This is a time to be patient, cherish quiet moments, and focus on creating an environment that feels safe, familiar, and peaceful. Sign 4. Frequent infections and slow healing. As the body begins to wind down, one of the clearest physical signs is a weakened immune system. You might notice that someone who rarely got sick before now seems to catch every cold, every flu, every small infection that goes around. What used to be minor illnesses now take much longer to recover from, and simple wounds, like a small cut or bruise, heal at a noticeably slower rate. These changes aren't random. They're signs that the body is no longer able to defend and repair itself the way it once did. One of the biggest concerns is repeated infections. Pneumonia, urinary tract infections, skin infections, and even oral infections become more common as the immune system weakens. Many families assume these are just isolated illnesses, but when they start happening frequently or take a long time to clear up, it's often a sign that the body is losing its ability to fight back. If you're still watching this video and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here, and if you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. Your support helps us continue creating valuable content to inform and inspire you. Sign 5. Major changes in breathing or circulation. One of the most telling signs that the body is preparing for its final stage is a noticeable change in breathing patterns and circulation. You may notice that your loved one breathes more slowly or shallowly than before. At times, they might pause between breaths or their breathing might become irregular, speeding up and slowing down unexpectedly. This is often a sign that the body is conserving energy. Circulation is slowing down, and the heart is no longer pumping as efficiently. You may notice their hands, feet, or even their nose and ears feeling cold to the touch. The skin may appear pale, bluish, or mottled, especially around the fingers and toes. This happens because the body is prioritizing blood flow to vital organs. In some cases, fluid buildup in the lungs can make breathing more difficult. This can cause a persistent cough, gurgling sounds, or even a feeling of tightness in the chest. Many people assume it's just congestion from a cold, but in elderly individuals nearing the end of life, it's often a sign that the lungs are weakening. As we come to the end of this video, take a moment to reflect on what we've discussed: significant weight loss, extreme fatigue, cognitive decline, frequent infections, and major changes in breathing and circulation. These 5 signs often appear in the year leading up to an elderly person's passing. They may not all happen at once, and they may not always be obvious at first. But when you start noticing them, it's a sign that the body is preparing for its final transition. Thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to use it in your life. Your thoughts are important to us, so don't hesitate to share them. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating valuable content to inform and inspire you. Thanks for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video.